second segment of the Ono Radio Show. I was wondering, Ty, if you recognized right now what is playing. Let me unmute you. Do you recognize this, Ty?
It's my boys.
Yeah, it is. Tell everybody who this is. Whoa.
This the Deep Field Now.
Yes, it is.
Guys of my homeboy Sean Bang, my other homeboy Lance Camphouse, Dave Gibbs. He is a madman of the keys.
Yeah.
Also my homeboy, and
he does
Craig
vocals
Cobb
on that too, right?
Not too. Yeah.
So this, yeah, honestly, it's some really cool stuff. I've been talking with those guys, and it sounds like the Deep Field Now are pretty cool with us playing some music on our show. So I think that's pretty neat. We'll have some more Deep Field Now as the time goes on. You'll be able to enjoy that. But, you know, support local musicians, I think. That's obviously something that you should all do, especially right now with everything going on, because they're not able to play gigs in a lot of cases, and a lot of them are struggling, and obviously not the entertainment industry is going to be the last thing to come back. So much like with donating to us, please donate to all your favorite local musicians. Buy a shirt, buy an album, do something, you know. Speaking of which, Trav, your lovely lady's in that same boat. So
absolutely,
yeah. It's I'm sure she's feeling it, right? Is she bummed like not being able to go out and play gigs?
Yeah, it's weird, man, too, because like when she was about to have like her last live show was like right on the cusp of the COVID thing, and then her show got canceled on her 3 hours before showtime.
Yeah,
when she was ready to go, we had the car loaded up, you know, we were ready, and it was like not doing not doing it.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and on top of that, I know
she doing some live stream stuff.
Well, she'd put together that amazing music video and had like singles, like this big single coming out that she's now not able to really like, you know, play out on and capitalize on. I would assume
she just released another one.
Cool.
Better Days, you know, that came out last month. But,
sure.
It's also hard, like, you know, we're both pretty progressive individuals, so like it's been a lot of her social media has been directed towards the movement right now.
Sure.
And she's actually sort of taken a back seat to promoting her stuff to you know, promote the things that are going on, the whole BLM movement, the protests. You know, she's actively promoting it for her friends, you know, and for
sure.
the people that she cares a lot about, you know, like one of her one of her audio engineers and bass players, you know, he's black, and like this is something that's like, it's not just like the right thing to do, like it's very personal for both of us,
I get it.
And so she's sort of taken a step back from that, and you know, that does complicate having a career as well, like even on the licensing side of things. So
understandable. Well, our best wishes to her, and obviously, you know, best.
She says hi, so
yeah, absolutely. We'll say hi back. Just tell her to stop. Tell her to stop
Radio
beating
show
you.
Says hey. Says what's up.
Cool.
There you go.
You guys, have either of you?
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Yay!
Hey, we got Ashley on the line. Yeah, take the headphones. We were just promoting you.
Oh.
We're trying.
No.
We were trying. I know. Why don't you go ahead? You could probably do it better than myself. So please, by all means, where would people find you, your music, and how can we help support you and other like-minded musicians?
Well, if you'd like to find me, my address is 3160. Just kidding.
That's actually the address, though. So she wasn't.
It's not the full address.
Oh, I mean, just kidding.
I'll find it now. I'll find you.
Chasing Jonah is the stage name, so if you like, it's Spotify, Apple Music. I don't know, wherever you listen to, it's probably there somewhere.
Cool. So just Chasing Jonah, give it a Google, give it a a look in your Apple Musics, your Spotify's, like you said, and absolutely like love what you're doing. I'm using your mic stand right now that you had gifted to me. So do not think that that's gone to waste. And yeah, Travis was just mentioning the fact that you've kind of in this whole time you've sort of rededicated your efforts to things like the Black Lives Matter movement, and just tell us all what you can about all that.
Oh, I mean, I guess right now, like during the time, of course, like there was the COVID thing that went down, and then just like everything that happened with George Floyd. It actually just happened like the week I was supposed to release a really big positive song, and I was super stoked about it. And then the news just kind of like takes over with all that negativity, and I guess in that moment I realized how ignorant I have really been to everything, and how much I didn't know, because I would. I understood that there was like racism existed, right? And I have like my best friend has been, she's been really studying African American history and has told me about things, and I acknowledged it, but I never really took the time or the initiative to research myself. And I think it really showed when I would talk to people and they would say these really extremely ignorant statements, and I wouldn't be able to explain to them why what they were saying was ignorant, because I actually didn't have the facts.
You were ignorant yourself to a degree. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I felt the same exact way. We kind of had this conversation earlier on the show, and one of the things that even me and Travis talked about last night, I believe, Trav, was that I up until probably 2 or 3 years ago, I didn't even know that Juneteenth was a thing. Like I didn't understand. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, and these are the things like that I said that I wish I was taught as a child, that weren't a part of my history book. They weren't most certainly growing up in Polk County, Florida. They weren't something on the tip of everybody's tongue. It's not something that I knew anything about. Right. So I think much in the same way as you, we've got to use this as a learning experience, right? And there's no shame in trying to grow.
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing, to be able to come to the point where you're admitting your own ignorance. Mm-hmm. Like that is beautiful. We shouldn't be ashamed to say like, I don't know, I don't understand, I never knew this, but I want to know. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And even when I talk to people on opposing sides or who don't believe like racism exists or anything, like I try to really take a perspective of like kindness to talk to them, because sometimes they do approach it.
Nah, it's better if you just yell "fuck you" at them all the time. Like it's the only thing that works. That's the only way you get through. You're like, you're a piece of shit. Fuck you.
Oh yeah, they listen. They listen
definitely they respond really kindly to that.
Oh yeah. No, and yeah. So just kind of just being able to admit our ignorance and then actually taking the steps towards learning about it. And it hurts to look at our history. It hurts to see like really what this country was built upon, and like to see like the history of slavery and vagrancy laws and Jim Crow and segregation and the order of things that actually had to come into play to make what is happening today. Mm-hmm. And yes, certain things have gotten better, but there's still a lot of work to do. Yep. And in order to fix those things, we really have to look at the history, but it always hurts to look at the messed up things. Like
Black history is American history.
Yeah.
That's
what
I never learned in my schools. No, like ever.
Absolutely.
I learned actively in my American history class that slavery was about states' rights.
Yeah.
No one read me the debt. Like no.
Dude, that it was an economic. The Civil War was fought over. It was more of an economic issue than it was. Like that's totally the way that I heard it. And
they never told me that slaves were a commodity.
Right. Also,
the economic issue that was.
They're not wrong. They're not wrong, because of course, like it was an economic issue. Free fucking labor is an economic issue.
Right.
Yeah. It is.
I mean, we wouldn't exist as the country we are without it. Yeah. Like without the cheap
stuff. Or wouldn't have. I don't think wouldn't have progressed as quickly as we possibly had. Yeah, 100%.
And so and people don't realize, yeah, they owe a lot of what they have to that whole situation.
Sure.
And just out of respect, we should really take the time to educate ourselves. And it's frustrating. Like, how do you get people who have no interest in educating themselves to be aware of it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess we just have to work on ourselves, because the best you can do is just like focus inward, and
Really?
hopefully like you making those efforts will inspire other people, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. It's really well put, though. Really well put. And thank you for hopping on. And nice talking to you. You're always welcome on the Oh No Radio show.
Oh no.
You
I'm
had
gonna leave
to.
now. I'm
It's an
sorry.
easy pun.
There
You
was
got
one
to.
pun I had to do.
You're good. I love it. She's so sweet, Trav. Thanks for putting her on.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's so sweet. And obviously,
I'm way out of my league here.
Yeah. She's way smarter than you. That's pretty damn evident right off the bat.
Not even. Yeah, exactly.
You guys, have either of you watched the new Unsolved Mysteries show yet on Netflix?
I have not.
No.
The reboot of Unsolved Mysteries. Well, I gotta say, I think I might be a fan. It's different. It's not the
Fucks
same.
with some crime shows, man, especially the ones that are mysterious.
Yeah, no. It's
My favorite brand of crime.
I feel like, because if you remember the old school I was gonna say Ono radio show, the old school
I also
Unsolved
remember
Mysteries. The old school Unsolved Mysteries was usually 3 or 4, maybe 5 different stories throughout an episode. I don't remember how many, but it was a series. It wasn't all about one specific case or specific thing. And of course, you had the narration from Robert Stack, and then later, who was that other guy? Ty? What was? He was in. He's dead too. He was in a couple movies.
Oh God.
Great mustache. I just can't remember. I just can't remember his name right now.
Geraldo.
Not Geraldo. But looked a bit like it. He's in. He's in some. Yeah, he's in a ton of stuff. I can't remember his name. But needless to say, the new Unsolved Mysteries is more, I think, akin to what we've gotten used to with a lot of these crime drama scenarios, right? Like that are, I would say, like kind of making a murderer, like that type of deal. Like it's one. I think it's one story, per episode. But it's the whole hour or whatever it is of that particular story, throughout the whole thing. So they get to get into a lot more detail, and I feel like it's a lot more credible this time around. Like it's a lot less them making, always love the
hokey pokey jumps that progress the plot.
Yeah, and there's less. They used to do always the reenactments on Unsolved Mysteries. There's none of that. There's none of that, which I was kind of hoping for some like cheesy reenactments. But no, that doesn't exist. The thing about the first episode, however, is that if you're familiar with talk radio in the Orlando area, we have a station called 104.1, and one of their major shows is, of course, the Monsters in the Morning. Ty, I'm pretty sure you're familiar.
Oh, yeah.
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 Did you know that Angel Rivera, are you familiar with Angel Rivera? He's a prominent figure on Real Radio and on the Monsters and what have you. He and his brother is the subject of episode 1 of Unsolved Mysteries, and it's all about his disappearance, which very much sounds like it probably should be a murder case, and all of the it's an unsolved mystery, so it fits the bill perfectly. But Angel Rivera, I've met the dude plenty of times. I would even consider him a friend of Ono Radio Show, and he's certainly a friend of our podcast community. It was crazy to just see him like unexpectedly. Like I threw it on thinking, it's just something to kind of like ignore, and there it is. This dude that I've met. All over the goddamn episode, like in these interviews talking about this whole thing, and it really is. It's I would strongly suggest it if you haven't seen it. I would especially with the Orlando connection. with
who's
Angel.
who's the host now?
There is no host now.
Oh.
They've done it.
Well, who's
yeah.
the narrator?
There is no narrator now.
What?
The story. I mean, there's no narrator on Making a Murderer or plenty of other shows in that same sort of vein. So like they've taken it in that direction, and I'm okay with it. Like I didn't think that I was gonna be okay with it, but they're doing it right, and it's
They
also
show a lot of like video footages over audio clips and interview clips, sort of deal.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a lot of interviews. It's a lot more, I would say, in depth, and in my opinion, I think it's probably it's probably better for it because I don't think it takes itself too seriously, but it also, especially with cases right now that are still going on that they need help with, I think it's going to grab people's attention more. The fact that like the production quality is a little bit better and people are, I'm assuming they kind of want to get that same sort of buzz like all these Netflix crime dramas seem to have, for a few weeks after they get out. So, honestly, crossing fingers on any of that they can maybe come up with some answers to, this situation. But
to your point, man,
but worth
production
mentioning.
quality is like the number one factor in credibility. Like you have a well shot production, people are not only going to engage more with it versus like, the original Unsolved Mysteries, kind of grainy, kind of like college budget
100%
production,
college. 100%,
and with that, it sort of says like that's what people see, and that's what people like. Wow,
that's
like,
what they're
all
going to
of this
gravitate
in general,
towards.
People see something and they think something, right?
Sure.
They don't dive into more of it.
No, 100%.
Yeah,
I think it will probably help them in the long term. They do at least use the old school theme song, and and if they didn't use that, then I would have been out. But thankfully, like they have used that. It's also I think done by the producers of Stranger Things, which is odd. So
it is odd.
Yeah. So those guys know how to weave a tale and tell a story. And that's exactly what they're doing in this whole situation. And like I said, I just think it's tons of
I'll be checking it out, man. So me and Ashley, we've been working through Game of Thrones right now.
Okay.
And,
Never could get into it.
We just started season 8, and we just finished like episode 3, and we hear that it sucks. The rest of it, we're kind of at a spot where like this is a solid ending. Like we could maybe not watch anymore.
Right.
So we've been sort of putting it off and like watching some other stuff. So any other any other recommendations that aren't Game of Thrones are super ideal.
You guys
just finish it, for fuck's sake. Finish it.
We're gonna, man, but it's like the episodes are also like 90 minutes long at this point.
Yeah. They really did it like
Yeah, and like I don't have a problem with that, but like
it's a commitment to watch.
It is, and so far it's a great show. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't also particularly like anyone in this show, and I don't think it's the best show that's ever been made.
Right.
So, and I'm not even finished with season 8. Like it's fine. It's a quality show. I've enjoyed it. I rarely watch 8 seasons of a show, but I was way more satisfied with Trailer Park Boys.
Sure.
With this show, like I watched every fucking season. Were there 10 seasons of Trailer Park Boys?
Oh, dude, and something
maybe
like
more
that.
now.
Maybe even more
know.
than that. Exactly. Yeah.
12 plus an animated series, like
plus the movies and like then all.
I have not watched the movies.
The movies too. Yeah, the movies almost fit in like with the storyline of things too.
Yeah, timeline.
In a timeline if you watch them in order.
The movies are worth it.
Yeah, they aren't all great, but they're all worth watching.
They're all worth watching.
Cool.
They're all worth watching.
It's my brand of humor. So,
if you were to pick the greatest show of all time, what? Because a lot of people do. A lot of people do say Game of Thrones. What would be your go-to?
It would either be
mine's Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad.
Here's the thing, man. Is like I never even finished Breaking Bad. I got so fed up with the last season. We've talked about this before, but I was like, this is so far from it just got so far off track that like I lost interest.
I think they did all right, but that's
No, and I need to just finish it. I need to start it from the beginning and watch it again because this was 8 years ago or however many years ago Breaking Bad happened. But I think for me, it's kind of a toss up between like Curb Your Enthusiasm,
great show,
and like Always Sunny. Like those are just some of the greatest shows that exist to me.
I feel like Sopranos probably hits a lot of people's lists.
I've actually never watched Sopranos.
I've only seen the first
Sopranos is great,
seasons.
but I won't put it on my favorites list.
What would you choose then, Ty?
What do you got?
Dude, it's I hate all favorites questions. They're so fucking tough for me to narrow down, but
shows of remark. Of like the utmost remark, what would you throw in like a 5-ish list? Not your favorite, but just 5 shows that you think changed the world or changed the television game.
It's when you say it like that, it makes it tougher. But like 6 Feet Under was a big thing for me. Like I love that show.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that like took drama to different places, but still left in enough humor and other shit. Like 6 Feet Under was fucking bomb. Yeah. And then that dude went on to go make like True Blood and shit like that. But like it all became a little too more fantastical, I thought, after 6 Feet Under. That shit was bomb.
Nah, it's a good show.
I mean, I love a lot of animated shit, but South Park, you can't naysay or forget about South Park.
Or
that
even
is absolutely valid.
Yeah, it's a very valid one.
I want to say I love Rick and Morty more than that, but
Simpsons has got to be on that list then if you're doing that. I mean, just because of its longevity, it's clearly. I mean, it's had some terrible years, but The Simpsons isn't a bad show, or wasn't a bad show.
To be fair, though, if we are bringing animation into the game, Futurama deserves a seat.
Futurama is the jam.
It deserves a seat at this table.
Could never do it. I never got into it.
I like.
It's crazy to me that you enjoy Simpsons but did not enjoy Futurama.
Yeah, but
I feel like Futurama is the shorter, condensed. Like all the good of Simpsons was smashed into the 6 seasons of Futurama.
I love some Simpsons, but I like Futurama more.
Interesting.
I did as well. I personally preferred Futurama.
I feel like it's one of those that I give Simpsons that credit just because of its longevity, and I remember it so much as such a it was almost like parents wouldn't let their kids watch The Simpsons back in the day too. Like it was a trend-setting show that you'd never seen animated characters, cartoons act like this or whatever.
Right.
And I to be honest, I can't even remember the last time I watched The Simpsons. So, realistically, I've probably watched episodes of Futurama more recently than I have even The Simpsons. So I don't know. Like, I certainly don't keep up with The Simpsons.
Yeah, totally.
But did they finally announce that that's ending, or was that? I can't remember if this is The Simpsons still going.
I don't think so.
There was talk of it. Especially around the whole Apu thing. I remember that being a deal. But then they kind of I think they just removed the character altogether. Like it's not on the show anymore. Like Apu's not on there because whatever cultural appropriation.
Right.
Well, whatever. Moving on. You hear about this Sacha Baron Cohen thing where he's trolling the redneck rally?
Did you watch it?
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. So he goes to this super far right wing rally, all the Trump supporters, all the Confederate flags, and he's got this make pretend country band on this stage, and he starts singing a song, and he gets the people to sing along. And I'll play a little bit of the audio for you here, just so you could understand. But
dude, that video is also 5-8 minutes. I don't know how long
it's 7 minutes long. It's super long.
Yeah, and he's going that whole time. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
he goes
they're
gonna edit that into something great.
Oh yeah. So, like, also a side note to this, like, after he gets done, they kind of figure it out because at some point that something's up, and they chase him off. Like, he's making fun of us, like he's going too far. But at first, of course, they're super into it. So he goes away and then comes back in a different disguise as a reporter to talk to all those people that, like, were mad about this whole thing. To talk to them as like
shit,
asking
that is
him
so cash money.
Oh, it's he's obviously doing another movie or a TV show or something, but it's one of those weird things. We need this guy right now at this like strange time. He's kind of calling out some of the obvious blatant racism that we were talking about earlier. So yeah, here's a little bit of it.
We gotta do, lock her up like we used to do. Lock her up like we used to do.
All right, hang on.
Let's do that one more time. I'm gonna say it and you say it. Ready? Okay, this is the chorus. I'm gonna say 1, 2, and you're gonna say inject him with the Wuhan flu. You ready? Here we go. Obama, what we gotta do? Inject him with the Wuhan flu.
So, Obama,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
what you gonna do? And then he's got the crowd singing, which he sang a little bit before. Inject him with the Wuhan flu. Like he's got the crowd singing.
Oh man.
Along with him, and then it gets just progressively more extreme and worse. Like, oh god,
it goes between that and chop them up like the Saudis do, or something like that. He
starts talking about Fauci, I think, and he's like something about Dr. Fauci. What we're gonna do? Chop him up like the Saudis do, and he's got people cheering along, like singing along with him, man. Like this right here is part of the reason that America's fucked.
Inject him with the Wuhan flu. Come on, Hillary Clinton, what we gotta do? Lock her up like we used to do.
Like we used to
do. Let's talk about Fauci. Fauci don't know his head from his ass. He must be smoking grass. We got knocked down by a flu. I ain't lying, it ain't no jokes. Corona is a liberal hoax. Corona is a liberal hoax.
Corona is a liberal hoax. It's a catchy tune. Like I watched.
Kind of slab.
Yeah,
dude. Like those fills.
Yeah, man.
That's produced music. You know, like.
I mean, he's just on stage. He's just on stage singing along with these guys, and yeah, like. It's just indicative of everything that's going on, and I love the fact that he does come back apparently later on. I don't know if there's any. I haven't seen any video of him coming back to the rally. We just know that he did it, and there's like pictures of him in kind of a journalist looking reporter outfit, and I'm sure we're gonna. I'm sure we'll see it at some point. Exactly.
It is a little sad because I'm sure we'll see a very cropped, very condensed narrative fit version of that. But like, I would love to see what happens, man. Like, I'm here for the sauce
for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
he had like a ambulance to escape in or something like that, to get out. I don't know, man. It's interesting, all the shit they come up with. And the money that he brings to the table to do it.
And it's weird the money that he creates doing it, and it's like it does kind of like make this divide in the country. Like the whole like class and race divide is really money, and like from the stuff I've been reading, like the whole like after in the resurrection movement, or the resurgence, or I don't remember the exact names, but like white and black people were like fighting together against the rich, and then the rich people were like, well, this is a problem, so let's tell half their army, the poor white people, that they're better than freed slaves, and we'll split them apart. And that's what they did, and it worked, and I think at the heart of the race issue in this country, and the heart of all of the issue, is the fact that there's people that just are doing fine and will continue to do fine at the expense of literally everyone.
Yeah.
Not just poor people, but like quite literally everyone else on the planet.
Switching gears a